Hey, what's up guys and welcome. This is Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer. This is my YouTube channel, Coded Design, where I teach coding and user interface design. This is going to be somewhat a very special and a unique video because what I'm going to teach you in this video is going to be unique and it's going to be the first time you will hear about it. I'm going to explain to you mobile or desktop first design or layout in a very unique and a special way. So let's bet if you found out that this is the most and unique and interesting way of explaining this concept, please do me a favor and subscribe. I know you will subscribe because this is going to be a very unique, clear and a concise way of explaining it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a concept that I think you might understand, which is the concept of colors, explain everything that I know about it, and then from then I will take that concept and tell you how it applies to mobile or desktop first. Okay, now what is the challenge? Obviously, as a user interface designer, you might have heard in the industry about mobile first or desktop first. So that's what I'm going to explain to you and also why it matters. So let me put this in form of a question. As a designer, must you be concerned about mobile first or desktop first? Okay, what is the concept anyway? Okay, so let's say I'm designing a layout. Let me just put a practical example. By the way, after so long or after a very long time, I have been using Figma to do my illustrations like this. But for some reason, I went back to CorelDRAW and I think I like this experience. The view, it's wide and CorelDRAW is my home ground. I know all the tools. It's different like Figma where I'm still learning it at the same time. My skill is becoming better with Figma, but CorelDRAW is my home ground. Why it is my home ground? At least you know by now that your boy has been a graphic designer, particularly a print graphic designer in the printing industry. Okay, enough about me. Let's just jump straight into it. Let's say I'm designing a user interface. Let's say a website. Let's not use complicated words. Okay, now obviously the website must be responsive. So the idea of mobile first or desktop first is, the concept is, okay, let me just zoom out. Sorry about that. Now I'm used to Figma, so that's how you zoom out in Figma. Okay, so am I going to start with the mobile screen first and then from then make that responsive to a tablet, and then from then jump to the desktop? Okay, do you get the idea? So depending on a lot of factors, one might feel like, okay, let me start with mobile and design the mobile layout first. Okay, just a moment. Okay, let me first design the mobile first, and then from then I will transition to sorry about that, I will transition to a tablet and a desktop. Okay, let's assume that this is a design element or whatever. Okay, this is whatever thing that we are going to design, whatever it is. Okay, let me just do this also here. Okay, so this is where I start. I start by designing for small screens. So as the screen increases, I will add some element. Let me just put 2 here to illustrate what I'm saying. Okay, I will add and scratch some elements. Okay, I hope now you get the idea. And then from then, obviously here I will have more elements, and not only more element but bigger element. Okay, so this is some sort of mobile first because I'm starting from mobile. I hope you get the point. Okay, let me just shift this so that I can show this. Okay, I hope you get the point. Okay, but some people, for some reason, obviously now I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to copy this and some sort of flip it. Okay, I'm going to group it, duplicate it, and then I'm just going to flip it. Okay, Okay, Corel Draw. Oh, you are not Figma, so you are not going to do some of the things that Figma does. Okay, my apologies about that. So let me just change the background color so that it can be different. It cannot be black. Okay. Okay, now let's assume that I have met a different designer that told me that, okay, when I'm designing or when I'm coding a website, what I do, I start from the desktop version of it where I've got everything, and then I remove some certain element. On the tablet I will have fewer elements, and then on the mobile I will have fewer elements. I hope you get the idea of let me just give it a label. So this we will label it as a desk. I hope desktop first. I hope the spelling is fine there. I'm not sure because I don't see. So in order for me to see, I will have to stretch this. Okay, desktop, we forgot K. Okay, so this will be our desktop first, as you can see, because let me just put it here, because we are starting with the desktop screen, and then Control D for duplicating, and then this will be the mobile first version. Okay, in case you didn't know, you haven't heard about mobile and desktop thing, this is what it is. Remember, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as my limited knowledge goes. Okay, so now let's continue. So this is the idea of mobile and desktop. So one might ask, which is the right approach? Must I start with, let's say, desktop first or mobile first? Okay, so let's go to the concept of colors. I'm going to explain this in terms of my experience as a graphic designer, particularly printing industry. I believe I've printed everything. I've printed pens, I've printed billboard, I've printed like cars, car wrapping. I think the only thing that I have not printed is my career. So I still want to be like the best user interface designer or front-end developer. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm printing my career. Okay, now let's go to the concept of colors. Okay, I hope you are familiar, or you are at least knowledgeable about RGB and CMYK. Don't mind if you're not knowledgeable, I'm going to explain it to you. When you think about RGB, think about all digital screens. What you are looking at right now, or what I'm looking at, I'm looking at a laptop, assuming also you are looking at more of a digital screen, meaning that if it's a desktop, you are using some sort of a flat screen, not those old screen which are made up of glass and everything. Okay, so you are also looking at a digital screen. So when you think of the digital screen, laptop screen, flat screen, plasma, and your phone, that's digital screen. So think of RGB. However, if you want to draw something, your lead pencil, your marker pens, your highlighters, your ink, then think of CMYK. Yeah, but more especially the ink side of things. Okay, so meaning that we've got the first weld number 1, and we've got weld number 2. So these are more like different environment. We've got the digital screen, which is your digital screens, your RGB, and we've got your CMYK. What's common between these two worlds or two environment? They are all some sort of are shooting for the same goal, which is helping us as human beings to some sort of express ourselves in terms of colors. As you can see here, I've got a black background and I've got a white dot. That's how I wanted to express myself. And then here I've just got a rectangle with a black border, and it's more like plain or empty, you see. So the common thing between these two worlds is that these two worlds are helping us to express ourselves as human beings in terms of color, and also they are helping to I'm not sure if this is the correct word, to beautify our world, meaning that if you go outside, maybe you will see beautiful flowers, roses are red, what are violet, all that jazz, and also the rainbow that you see after the rain. Okay, so It's all about colors and beautiful colors. Okay, now let's jump to the main point. Okay, let's start from here. What do you see here inside this black area? This is a white what? This is a white square, isn't it? Let's just zoom in. Okay. Okay. I'm used to Figma. Okay. Now let's just zoom in. This is a white square. Okay. So now you need to unlearn. What do I mean by unlearning? This is just a combination of colors. Okay. And what are those colors? It's red, green, and blue. So the combination of these colors, they give us a white color. Okay, let's dive deep into that, or let's see the practicality. Okay, I'm just gonna shift this one. As you can see, as I'm clicking on it, it's blue. So what I'm clicking on now, it's a blue color. So let me shift the blue color. As you can see, this is a blue color. Okay, let's see if I'm clicking here on this yellow color, or the one that I think it's yellow, but as you can see, this is actually a green color. Okay, let me move it down. Okay, and let me click on this one. As you can see, this is red color. Okay, so the only colors that we have here, it's green, blue, and red. So as you can see, a combination of this color and this one, it forms this one. A combination of this color and this one, it forms this one. Okay, so what's the takeaway here? Okay, both, or let's say both of these, let's say I'm not sure if, not necessarily technologies, but both of these color schemes, which is RGB and CMYK, okay, they have got white. Okay, so the main focus here, we want to know how these color schemes generate white or create white. It might happen they are creating it, or it's just the illusion of white. As you can see here, this white is more like an illusion in this side. We're not going to get into those details. Just for now, let's assume that we are creating that white. Whether it's our optical illusion or our eyes perceive it as white, we are not going to be too political. Okay, so now let's see. As we have said, this is RGB, red, green, and blue, and this is CMYK. Okay, it's cyan, magenta, yellow, and this is black. This K stands for 100% black. Okay, so now you have seen how RGB creates white. How it does that? It combines all these colors, these three colors, red, green, and blue. Okay, do you see that in this side we can create white? Make sense? Meaning that this white, it's not necessarily white, the one that you see in this space, but it's a combination of only three colors, red, green, and blue. Okay, I hope it's clear. So this technology, or this color scheme, it's used to create multiple colors only using these colors. It's the one that is used, the one that your laptop is using now, and also the mobile phones that they are using now. However, let's jump to the real world. Obviously, most roof tiles are red, okay, and also most, I'm not sure if I'm right, depending on where you are, and also there's a lot of things, but let's pretend that most white window frames are white. Is that the right English? Most white window frame. I think I'm losing myself here, but what I'm trying to say is most windows frame are white. Okay, so meaning that if you can stand on the street and look at your house or home, you will see a lot of colors. Okay, and those colors, I'm convinced that they are made, or they are coming out as a result of a paint. So now we are jumping into this world of CMYK. Okay, so now let's observe how this CMYK generates white, or where the white color is coming from. Okay, obviously in the RGB world, we are creating the color white. We can create it, we are creative. But however, in the RGB space, we don't create the color white. It's already there. meaning that it's coming from the sun. Or in the RGB space, we don't really some sort of what can I say? Let me put it this way: in RGB, we don't mix. Oh, sorry, in CMYK, we don't mix these colors in order to create a color white. Okay, we can have, let's say, a white paint. We can have that, but that doesn't mean if you take, let's say, a white paint plus a cyan color white paint plus a magenta color white paint plus yellow color white paint, and if you combine those, you will get white. Okay, just like imagine yourself having some sort of 4 colors and trying to some sort of paint all those colors in one place or something. Obviously, you will get some sort of ugly and dark and ugly color that is not pleasing in the eye. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Meaning that in this site, in this environment, or in this color scheme, we don't mix colors in order to get white. Okay, white must be a color that is already there. So the more we add these colors, we are subtracting. I think I need to maybe type something. Okay, so here the more we add colors, let's say we are taking away from white. Okay, I hope you see the difference. Okay, so the more we add colors here on CMYK, imagine yourself mixing different inks, you will never get white in the end. Okay, but here the more we add colors, we are, let me duplicate, the more we add colors in this side, we are, okay, yeah, the more we add colors here, let's say we are creating white instead of saying we are adding white. Okay, so the more we mix colors here, we are creating white. The more we add colors here, we are taking away from white. In the end, you have red. Okay, let me just show you. You have a red color here on CMYK. As you can see, the color scheme is CMYK. Okay, obviously this red and this one might be slightly different, but it's red anyway on CMYK and RGB. Okay, so the main focus here is that we do get colors, and also we do get some sort of similar or same colors. Okay, just like this red and red, but the way in which these colors are rendered, created, or some sort of the illusion or the technical illusion behind, as you can see here, we are perceiving white, whereas this is just a combination of colors, whatever the illusion might be, but it's done different here than here. Okay, now that that is outside of the way, or now that we're done with that, and also the reason why I've chosen this example, because of we are in the business of design. We are designing layouts, we are some sort of we are front-end developers, so we are responsible for some sort of the visual aspect of things, of the user interface. This also analogy will help you to understand some sort of how colors are being rendered or how colors are being recreated. I hope you are learning something from this example. So as you can see, I cannot say it's some sort of a bad idea to have an RGB color scheme, because the computers need that, and CMYK cannot work on computers. Okay, and then also we cannot say it's a bad idea to have CMYK, because outside the digital screen, the paint or everything that we have outside, or the color that we have outside the digital screen, it's being created from this. So the printing machines that are printing on paper, they are using this scheme CMYK. So in most cases, you will prepare things for CMYK when you are preparing them. You will use CMYK when you're preparing things for printing, because the printing machine, this is how they understand color. Okay, and then obviously for your Facebook page and your mobile screens and your user interface, you are going to use more or less like RGB color. So as you can see that you cannot say this is the right way and this one is wrong, and you cannot say this is the wrong way and this one is right. The same way you only prepare an artwork in a CMYK format for printing and RGB format for digital screen, the same thing happens with sorry for that. The same thing happens with mobile or desktop first. I think I had I wonder where is it. Oh, okay, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so okay, let me just do this. Okay, that's it. So the same goes for desktop versus mobile. Okay, we cannot say the desktop first approach is wrong, and also we cannot say the mobile first approach is wrong, because all these approaches, they are working towards a common goal or the same goal, but in different ways. I hope my answer is clear on that. So you cannot say it's better when you start from designing for a computer and work your way down to mobile, or you say it's better when you work on the mobile and add things to desktop. Okay, there is no right or wrong way, remember, based on my own experience, but there are some factors that might help you to decide. For instance, before I was introduced into the concept of mobile or desktop, I didn't know if like those concepts exist before. So what I thought was right, or is the only way to go about doing things, was to design for the desktop and obviously subtract things as you go. So I really didn't know if it's possible to start from the small screen and work your way up to the bigger screen. Okay, so personally, to be honest, at the moment I'm used to desktop first. At the moment I'm used to desktop first. Why am I used to desktop first? This is what I believe about desktop first. Okay, you've got all the information that you want to present to the user here on the desktop. Okay, meaning that it's either you are going to some sort of hide some of the elements. As you can see, we've got 3 elements here, and here we've got 2 elements. So you can hide some of the elements. When you are in your tablet screen, you know, you are aware of the elements that you have hidden. And also here you've got a freedom as to how are you going to hide your elements. Okay, one of the ways in which you can hide elements, let me just do some illustration. Okay, let's say this is a hidden element. Okay, one of the ways in which you can hide your element is to move them away from the screen. Move them up so that when you reach this screen, you can show them. That means they will transition from the top to the bottom. That is one of the way. Okay, and the other one is to some sort of hide them in a true sense of the word by displaying none. So in this breakpoint, then this element display none. So when you are coming from a desktop let's say screen or layout, first of all, you are aware of all the content that you are supposed to put into your layout, and then you hide and remove the content based on whatever criteria, maybe the order of importance and whatever, up until you reach the screen. Now, the challenge that I've faced with mobile first, obviously it might have its own advantages, because maybe if the website or the application is going to be predominantly used on mobile, it will mean that it's going to some sort of it didn't reach mobile by accident or by removing things, but it started from mobile. So maybe the performance and the layout and how things work here might, the experience might be better than this one, because here, remember, we started from here, and let me use the word, we accidentally landed here. When I'm saying accidentally, we were removing things, so meaning that we didn't have an intention, we didn't have an idea of where we are going to land, but we were removing things and also keeping the good graphic design and layout practices up until we reach this stage. But here on the mobile first, it's more like you are more intentional and more focused on the user experience on mobile. So you've got a lot of some sort of features that are tailor-made for mobile here. But my challenge with the mobile first is that I am not aware of other elements that are going to be involved. It's like I'm working with small information. So now, once the screen is bigger, for me, it's a bit tough to some sort of add elements. I think to me, it's easy to minus elements. Now, let's take that concept of CMYK and RGB. For me, it's easier to some sort of, let's say I'm more of an RGB guy. It's easier for me to add elements. Let's say add elements up until I get white. So it becomes a problem when I have to some sort of be a CMYK guy and remove colors in order to reach white. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Okay, so here on the mobile first side, I'm not aware of everything. So when I'm reaching let's say what can I say, when I'm reaching the tablet, now I need to add something else. Okay, when I'm reaching the desktop, then I still need to add something else. So for me, I like to know what is it that I'm supposed to work with from the get-go. Okay, now one might say, okay, in most cases, and that's actually how it happens, in most cases you do get a design, some sort of layout beforehand, meaning that, let's say, before you get into coding and whatever, okay, let's say when you get into coding, you do get a layout from the designer of how the screens are supposed to be. Okay, in that case, meaning that you already know, let's say from the mobile device, you already know how is your tablet is going to look like, and also you already know how the desktop is going to look like. But now my question is, what if now we are talking about even the designer? Because now what I'm doing, since I'm not necessarily the best of both worlds, but at least I'm a hybrid. I started from design and I transitioned to front end. So I'm a bit aware of both of these environments. So let's say now you are on the design phase. Okay, so how are you some sort of, let's say, going to start your design? Are you going to start from here, or you are going to start from here? So meaning that even in the design process, you still have to some sort of see how are you going to start your design. Are you going to start from mobile and then you work your way up to the desktop, or you are going to start from the desktop and work your way down to the mobile? So for me, even in design, I will start by the desktop and remove things so that I could land to the mobile. Then the question that you have, Matthew, what's the point? Okay, what's the point? For me, I think the whole point behind mobile and desktop first, some sort of design, not application, but mobile and desktop first design. I think number one, it reinforces the planning behind the design. A concept that I think not necessarily it's really talked about, but it's easier for us to overlook it, more especially in the coding space. Why am I going to say that? Because coders are not designers. So for instance, if I am a coder and I want to code to show you a website, how do you code your own website? In most cases, I'm a coder. I will just code things as I think or as I see them, because I'm not a designer. I won't even think about having a structure, meaning that telling you that, okay, this is my frame and I am planning to have my left section, and I am planning to have my nav bar. Sorry about this. Okay, I am also planning to have my nav bar somewhere here. And if coders do that, they don't get into details and do that planning. Okay, now this mobile first or desktop first, it's some sort of pushing the coders or the front end developers to really think about the idea of planning your layout beforehand. Okay, how is this planning going to help us? Believe me, if somebody had a proper planning before they create a layout or even the design itself, okay, there are two things that are going to happen. Okay, number one, the design is going to be simple. Okay, and number two, it's going to be lightweight, because you don't accidentally create things or come up with things, but you are more intentional and you are more focused. Okay, so let me just in closing, let me just make an example of a more clean and a layout design, or some sort of a professional and a working design. Okay, when I started with web design, or let's say coding HTML and CSS, this is how I used to do it. It's not the wrong way, obviously, but as time goes by, you improve, by learning from other guys and also observing the patterns from the well-known frameworks. Okay, so this is what I used to do. I will have my navigation bar here. Okay, let's pretend this is my navigation bar. Okay, I will have my navigation bar here. Okay, and the items and everything. Okay, as you can see that these items, they vary in length. Okay, some are longer than others. Okay, just a moment. Okay, so this is what I will have. As you can see by just looking at this, okay, when I reach this point, I must have a breakpoint here, meaning that this navbar of mine needs to adapt. Okay, so maybe let's say we are going to hide this. Okay, as you can see, somewhere here I will reach another breakpoint. Okay, let me just give you an idea. Okay, somewhere here, now I forgot about CorelDRAW shortcut. I'm sorry about that. I've been using Figma for some time. Okay, this is my second breakpoint. Let me just also show you my other breakpoint. This was my first breakpoint, so this one is my second breakpoint. So I will remove this. Okay, and then I will have a breakpoint here. Okay, usually this is how you start coding. Okay, not this, duplicate. So usually this is how you start coding. Okay, and then here obviously I will remove this, delete. Okay, and then let me just say this is a hamburger menu on your mobile. Okay, so that when you click here, and then you can see your items. Okay, as you can see here, I've got how many breakpoints? I've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, now these were only what? these were only navigation breakpoints. Okay, now let's go to the body. Okay, let me just type something here. Let's say this was, sorry about that. Okay, let's say this was the content. Okay, sorry about that. This was the content. Okay, now let's make it big. Okay, obviously, since I already made some example. Okay, can I zoom in from here? Nope. Yeah, this is what I want. I think this is fine. Okay, so as you can see, let's say this is the content of my body. Okay, now I'm not going to do exactly what I did, but I'm just going to give you some sort of an example. Okay, so this means that now I have to make also this body responsive as well, isn't it? Yes. Okay, let's go on and do that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to create some copies. This is going to be my first breakpoint, as you can see. Then this is going to be my other breakpoint, as you can see. This is going to be my other breakpoint, because now I'm making the body to be responsive. Okay, my other breakpoint, and then my other breakpoint. Okay, enough about the breakpoint. As you can see, so meaning that first, the red parts, they are the navigation bar, some sort of breakpoints. Okay, and these green ones, they are sort of the body breakpoints. As you can see, I think you can start to see where this is going. What if I've got also another section here? That means I have to make the breakpoints. So when you look at my website, you will see a lot of breakpoints. Breakpoint. Why was that happening? Because I was not planning. I didn't know, like, even the desktop first and the mobile first, those terms were non-existent to me. Okay, and also I was not like clued up about the layouts. Okay, and even the concept of breakpoints, I didn't know if these are breakpoints. To me, these were just making things responsive. The navigation bar must be responsive, and the way I was doing it, I will even go ahead and only make the nav bar responsive. When I'm done with that, I will make this content responsive. When I'm done with that, and I will like some sort of work down to my web page until I finish. It was a bit of some sort of exhausting task. Okay, at some point I will be lazy as I go, and I will start to rush things quickly because the client wants the website, or some of the website, if I can be honest with you, I didn't finish them because of this reason. Okay, now how would this solution, or how would this problem be solved by this? Okay, now here, this is what is going to happen if you plan. Okay, so if you have some sort of a planning and you are aware of these concepts, the desktop and mobile. Okay, let's go to the desktop. Okay, I think the best way that will illustrate my point is to start from a mobile first. Okay, let's say we were having some sort of pictures to be displayed. Okay, yes. Okay, we were having pictures to be displayed here and also here. Okay, same pictures. Let's say pictures and a text. Okay, just a moment, the last one, and here. Okay, so if I am a planning guy, so that means I'm aware of this mobile first and desktop first, and also I understand that I need to have some sort of a pre-planning my approach. Am I going to start from the desktop, or am I going to start from the mobile? Okay, now let's have two items that are different in terms of mobile responsiveness. Okay, let me do it like this. Okay, it's gonna be this item, and then this is the navigation bar, let's pretend. Okay, and then let me say I'm going to have this picture and also another, okay, duplicate, and also another item here. Okay, this is another item. Okay, let me center everything. Okay, so as you can see that as we some sort of let's say shrink the screen, this will be our first breakpoint, and this will be our second breakpoint, and in the middle this will be our third breakpoint, and this will be our fourth, and this will be our fifth. As you can see that here we are going to have plus minus 5 breakpoints according to this layout. But if we are some people who plan, we can try to take this design, okay, this layout, I can say, not design necessarily. We can take this design and try to fit it nicely in this layout so that we can have how many breakpoints? Only like 3 breakpoints, as you can see, since most CSS frameworks and also other user interface innovation and technologies, they are having like plus minus like 3 or to 4 breakpoints. Okay, so in doing so, you will realize that you will think along the lines of, okay, I am having these elements that have got different sizes and shapes and forms, but I need to rearrange these elements in such a way that I will hit like 3 breakpoints. Okay, meaning that let me just control K to break these 2 elements. Okay, so meaning that let's say when it comes to here, okay, I can have this element here, and also I can have this element here. Okay, as you can see, these are my elements. Okay, and then I can have this element here. Okay, this element here, and let's say for simplicity, and this element here. Okay, so as I move down this screen, as you can see, as I move down this screen, what will happen to our elements? Okay, only this gap will become smaller and smaller. As you can see, this gap between these elements will become smaller and smaller. Okay, up until this reaches this point, okay, which is this one. It's safe up until this reaches this point, and then what will happen? By then we would have been in the second breakpoint. Okay, let me just do this. By then we would have been in the second breakpoint. Okay, we will be here by then. As you can see, we are almost like very close. Okay, we will be here by then. Okay, we will be here. Okay, so the more we move like closer and closer, then white might feel like, okay, I think somewhere here we will have to like have some sort of a breakpoint in the middle. Somewhere here we will need to have a breakpoint before we reach this one. However, based on our knowledge, our responsive knowledge, as you can see, okay, what we can do here, we can arrange these elements, this one and this one, in such a way that once there is no space, they automatically arrange themselves like this. meaning that now they were in a row, but now they are going to be automatically stacked one on top of each other, as you can see. So how can you achieve this? For instance, in terms of a code, just to give you an example, if we can display flex this element in terms of CSS property display flex, and then the property flex wrap, we give it a value of wrap, it will mean that as soon as there is no space here, this will automatically be pushed to this side. Why are we applying these techniques? It's because we know that we need to be very, very savvy about our breakpoints. We don't need to apply this strategy whereby we break, okay? So now here, when we are done with it, at least I'm just assuming by now this will be here, okay? When that happens, then we will transition to the last thing, of which here we won't have these. Okay, delete this one and delete this one. Okay, of which here we will have the hamburger menu, and then we are here on responsive. How many breakpoints do we have? We only have 3 breakpoints. Okay, guys, this is it for me. I'm Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. If you feel like this video has added value into your own overall understanding of layout, responsive, everything front end related, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Okay, what I wanted to explain to you first is the concept of mobile and desktop, that it just depends on the problem that you are solving. The same way this RGB color scheme and CMYK color scheme, it's having its own way in which it displays white and also how it generates colors. You cannot say it's RGB, it's fine. You cannot say the CMYK is fine, because it's 2 different things. They are solving some sort of same problem but in different ways. Okay, and also I wanted to reinforce the idea of understanding the layouts. Okay, as you can see, these are different layouts and the breakpoints, and involve or reinforce a little bit of planning behind. So it's very important to plan your layout, how it's going to look, so that you can some sort of be, I'm not sure if it's efficient or clean, so that you can write some sort of a lightweight and the web page or application that can be faster and some sort of improve the performance. Okay, otherwise that's it. We've reached the end. If you haven't subscribed, please do me a favor and subscribe. Otherwise, for me, Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer, see you on the next one.